Good morning and welcome, especially to Eagles fans. Well done. Um, it's good to see folks. As you could see by the email for this week, we have a big week here on the 9:30 call. Today with G3, and then we have the secretary tomorrow. Secretary Tutwiler will join us, and there'll be live interpretation into Spanish, and we're working on Portuguese. And Wednesday, we're going to have Sharing the Mic, which was formerly called Updates from the Field. And then Thursday, we'll have the Commissioner Kershaw on. And the EEC board meeting is on Wednesday in Framingham. So the commissioner will give us an update on that. So please share the information with folks if you know folks who haven't been joining the calls. Should be good. And we'll be recording all the calls, including today's. So Susan, 2024 was a big year for you. As we get started, why don't I turn things over to you all? The first question for all 9:30 callers is for each of you to tell us a little bit about you and how you came to be in your current role, and then we're excited to hear the update.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amy. Oh, and I agree, that was an interesting science project game last night. If anybody got to watch the Eagles and all of it, when we think about executive function, it was actually a really great example of it, but we'll talk about that later. Really grateful to have my team on the call as well. You guys want to all introduce yourselves? How about you start with Sonal? You're open.
Yep, I can go ahead. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Sonal Dave. I'm excited to introduce myself as a business development and learning and development specialist here at G3. My journey began in education, where I spent 6 incredible years as a teacher after completing my master's degree and Montessori training. Those years shaped my passion for learning, growth, and empowering others to reach their full potential. Now stepping back into the education industry is like amazing. I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to help individuals advance in their careers by providing access to valuable certifications at no cost. Nothing excites me more than seeing people unlock new opportunities to achieve their professional goals. I look forward to collaborating with all of you and making a meaningful impact together.
Thank you, Sonal. I appreciate that. Ms. Beth Fredericks.
Hi, everyone. I'm just thrilled to be here. Happy to see Amy after some time. Susan calls me an OG in early childhood. I think that is very true, and happy to be hanging with some of the OGs. I started my career with a master's degree in early childhood at Children's Village, which is still going strong in Cambridge, Mass. I was the director there. I met Fran Rogers, was a parent at the time, and she started Work Family Directions. My mentor was Gwen Morgan, who at the time was at Wheelock College. Wheelock, of course, is now at BU, and I kind of followed along that path. I spent about 10 years in Singapore directing the program for Wheelock College there. So I've taught early childhood in higher ed. I've directed centers. I pretty much did lots and lots of things. So today I'm happy to say that I've joined Susan's team to help in this apprenticeship program, to support the apprenticeship program. And we're going to talk about that more. So again, totally honored to be here. I know today I'm really hanging out with, all those who are aligned, heart and soul here to do this work. So hi, everybody, and thanks, Amy.
Thank you, Beth. Sherry.
All right. Hi, I am Sherry Killen Stewart and new to the G3 team, but many of you may remember that I was commissioner in Massachusetts for a number of years, but I've been working nationally on issues of early care and education, and excited to be bringing that national knowledge to the G3 team as it continues to grow. Happy to be here.
Great.
And thanks. Good to see you, Amy and Beth. I don't want to start naming names because lots of friends on the
You'll be
phone.
in trouble.
Yes.
It might feel like romper room. So, and I will introduce myself since I got on, and I forget that everybody doesn't know me, even though I feel like I've been in the Massachusetts workforce for a long time. So I am the original founder of Little Sprouts Child Enrichment Centers, as well as Imagine That. I started it in 1982. I just turned 60, so I was 17 years old, but you don't have to do the math. And I started Imagine That, which was an out-of-school youth time program, and a educational interactive children's museum that we did in the Riverwalk that we launched in 2007. And then G3, I was doing it, I was consulting externally for many years for other clients, and then formally incorporated G3 Works in 2014. So we've been 11 years that we've been doing in this work of workforce development and apprenticeship, specifically in multiple industries. But what's really fascinating about this model that we've created that we're going to get into is that I designed all of this foundational work in Little Sprouts and Imagine That. So although in 2012, I stopped working in early childhood and out of school youth time, and I went out to many, many other industries, manufacturing, hospitality, healthcare, to take the same model that I used in Little Sprouts and to see if it actually could transfer and the learning and the competencies transfer to other industries. And in fact, it was wildly successful. And then I came back into early childhood in 2019, right before the whole world changed. And so grateful to be here. And as Amy said, we had quite a big year in 2024, and we're going to talk to you about some of the work that we are doing and that we invite you to participate in as well. So next slide, Sonal,
Maybe
please.
a little plug for your book, Susan, since you're here.
I will get there, Amy, and thank you for that.
Okay,
I
great.
appreciate it. So we have been working in the Department of Labor funding streams. Our first grant that we were awarded, it was at Little Sprouts in 1998. And it was the second year that workforce development funds were offered. And we were the first educational institution that actually received the funding. And somewhere in my archives, I have a picture of Mitt Romney handing me this big check for $170,000 to go back in and invest in my own employees. And it was then that I realized that there was this other supportive funding out there that we could be accessing in education to invest in our people. And so to date, we have written over $66 million of workforce development fund program trainings for 4 states, in majority in New York, New Jersey, California, and Massachusetts. But we have also written some in the UK and in Canada. And so this was a trend that started in the United States in the late 90s, but actually has expanded even more globally in other countries. So in Massachusetts, what the slide that you see in front of us is the funding that is available for programs. And the Express program, which you see on the left-hand side, right now, they just changed the rates on them, but organizations can receive up to $15,000 a year in training funds. And what we have been doing at G3 is when we are between apprenticeship models, we're using those funds to supplement learning with different competencies and or parts of the educational pathway that participants will need to either get teacher certified, lead teacher, director 1 or director 2. The general program is up to $125,000 for 2 years. And that one is actually just got brought down from 250. And we have quite a few clients that we work on that with to design out learning and development models for early childhood education. And the WCTF program that you can see over there on the right is they have a planning grant that I actually think they just dropped it up to $30,000. And then they have the Workforce Competitive Trust Fund that we just graduated 70 early childhood teacher certified participants from. And that one funding is up to $500,000 a year. And so everybody on this call is eligible for either all of these or some of these funding streams. And what we do is we're the intermediary in helping you access those funds, as well as design out your learning and development model. And if you already have one, you can use these funds to fund your learning and development model. Let me just stop there and see if anybody has any questions. Okay, next slide, Sona. There's the book, Amy. So with the new cover, this is the second edition, actually. And Why we changed the cover is another story that we'll do at another time. But right now, this book we launched on October 22nd. It is, the publisher has been Advantage Forbes. The title is Superloop: How Understanding Beliefs, Biology, and Behavior Creates a Business That Works for Everyone. And so we have multiple case studies in there. One of them is in at Little Sprouts. Actually, two of them are at Little Sprouts. And then we have The Body Shop, which is another big agency we worked in. We have community healthcare centers that we have worked in, and a manufacturing, as well as a holistic well-being. We have the Chopra Center in there as well. But again, what is so cool about this, and I celebrate this for all of us in early childhood, is that our industry, as we have all been committed to professionalizing the field, does not understand how challenging and how many hats and how many competencies you need to run an early childhood program. But in fact, we have designed out leadership, supervision, and executive function models in this Superloop practice that directly is a result of the work that I got to experience while I grew Little Sprouts and Imagine That. And so I'm doing some guest speaking all around the world doing this, and any opportunity that we have to talk about this work, if you've got an event that you're interested in us joining, please let us know, because it's really powerful work. Next slide, Sonal.
Great.
So this was the Level Up, the WCTF program that we graduated 70 participants in to move from assistant teacher to teacher certification. We did this in 4 different cohorts, and this was with the WCTF funding that at the time was actually $1 million, and we were awarded the highest in the state at $699,000. Now the cap is at $500,000, and still very accessible. What's very cool about the WCTF is that if you are a nonprofit that self-insures under your unemployment insurance, you are eligible for these funds. This is one of the only funding in the country, actually, at a state level that is accessible to nonprofits as well as for-profits. This is the participant pathway. We started out recruiting. Sonal joined us as a recruiter, and you can see that under number 1. And selecting participants, we work with directors to interview their staff if they are interested in moving from assistant to teacher. We're right now recruiting for a Director 1 program that is starting in a couple of weeks that Sonal will talk to you about. But we do a formal interview process with everyone so that we can ensure the highest outcome for success. And so this was the design that we did as far as training and supports. We do path making, which is a supportive service role that we have. Actually, Maya is on the phone, and excuse me, Maya, for not introducing you. Maya, would you like to say hi to everyone?
No worries at all. Susan, I'm just inspired listening to you and everyone on the call, so don't worry about it. I'll just introduce myself quick. My name is Maya Jamadelline. My pronouns are she and her. I have background with psychology and higher education. I teach at Brandeis. I'm also a DI consultant, which we all know what we're facing right now. But also I'm honored to be able to support Sonal and Susan and everyone on a call for this amazing resource and program.
Thank you, Maya. And Maya is very new to the team, and my apologies for missing you, Maya, and thank you. So this was the pathway that we developed. We actually did Mind in the Making in this particular one. We did all of the courses and praxis in Superloop. And then we did mentoring. We did one-on-one performance coaching, and then we did in the classroom coaching as well. So it's a very comprehensive model. We are fortunate to be aligned with the University of Minnesota and their Department of Education. They managed all the research for the program. And so we're really excited that we were able to, start out strong and have the amount of graduates in this particular program that are on their way now to be lead teacher and eventually director qualified. So next slide, Sonal. So just a couple of key findings from the research project saying that that 6 out of 9 questions showed that participants had higher scores following their Level Up program in executive function, really under 3 different categories: cognitive flexibility, impulse control, and working memory. And, you know, back to the Eagles game and Patty Mahomes and, you know, Jalen Hurts, you know, if you got to watch the game last night, it was a great example of amygdala hijack, right? And this young man, Patty, who is just outstanding in the field and just froze in this game. It was really humbling to watch that someone at that level, this happens all the time. And so our job is exposing our participants to executive function skills that are going to increase all of those attributes and areas. Next slide, Sonal. So a couple of other participants had a higher capability of possibilities mindset. And that's a new term coined by Ellen Galinsky in her new book, The Breakthrough Years. And she's actually creating new work to be integrated in Mind in the Making and Breakthrough Years. And so the ability for teachers to think about having possibilities rather than getting stuck was a really big outcome. And that was the highest result that we achieved inside Teaching Superloop. They reported they understood goal setting better, work engagement, they had positive moods and internal locus of control. They felt that agency, as we talk about agency, that's what we're talking about in executive function. So now let's go to the next slide. So these are the 3 areas that we focus on in a reflective performance indicator, which is a tool that we use with the University of Minnesota, Unlocking Productivity. It's a very, very interesting tool. Next, Sonal. So Sonal, where is the Kale Institute slide with what? Okay, so why don't you walk through that with everyone, what our options are for the next few months?
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to share fantastic opportunities that could benefit your team, colleagues, or anyone looking out to advance their career in early childhood education. So our organization is funded by Kale Institute under their Good Job Challenge, and we partner with Middlesex Community College to offer the teacher certification and Director 1 certification programs. Right now, we are actively enrolling for Director 1 certification, which is designed for those looking to step into leadership roles. This cohort starts February 24th and it runs through June 29th. We have a room of 40 participants. If you are interested, please, at this point, the eligibility is you to be teacher certified, or if you already have the credits of college or CIUs under you that makes you teacher certified, lead teacher certified qualified, and then you can just reach out to us. We are also doing a teacher certification. That's a great opportunity, for those looking to become certified educators who are currently at, level where they just want to get certified from assistant to be a teacher in the classroom. The next cohort for that starts on March 10th, and the other one followed on April 7th. We are currently already completed enrollment for the cohort 3 that starts on March 10th. So if any one of you know someone who's interested to enroll, they will be eligible to enroll on the April 7th cohort. These programs are a gateway to, gain credentials at little to no cost, making career growth. The timeline right now is right in front of you. We have the Director 1, which is on February 24th. We don't have much time right now. So if anyone's interested, they can, go to our website. There is a link. I will definitely share links here in the chat that you can go and fill in the applications for Director 1 as well as for the teacher certification. The Director 1 course includes 3 college credit course that is EDU 252 through Middlesex Community College. We are also doing for participants who are going to need more college credits an EDU 102. We have 30 hours of strength assessment, reflective performance assessment, and their performance coaching and path-making support services. I am open to any questions if any one of you have.
Someone just add in the chat, Sonal, if it was virtual or in person. Kathleen, they are virtual.
Oh, yes. It's completely.
There was also, go ahead.
Yes, it is virtual, and you also have the capability to work it after your working hours. All these people who will be getting enrolled will be working professional, they'll be full time. We know how crazy hours we have in this industry. So it is designed in such a way that anyone who's working full time at this point can complete the assignments and the work. They are all scheduled to be either in, a live class in the evening hours for 1 hour once a week, and all the other assessments, and they can take it as per their availability and flexibility. They usually have weekly assignments. So you'll have one full week to work on the time that suits you to complete the assignments. And all of our classes that we will be having for the 30 hours will be either evenings or on the weekends.
And then Edna had, sorry if you addressed this already. I got in a bit late. Do you also support help FCCs? Do you offer the CDA program too? From what I saw on the website, it seems like you do, maybe with a different name. Teacher certification, do you offer scholarships?
So I can answer that, Edna.
Great.
We right now, the apprenticeship model that we're doing with Kale is focused on regular early childhood centers and not the family childcare. Yet we are still looking for opportunities, and we are in the process right now of submitting applications for registered apprenticeships in the state of Massachusetts for teacher, lead teacher, and director. And we are also going to do family childcare as well.
Okay. This is great to be able to be done virtually. Okay, I like the yet, thank you. Yes. And well, Susan, share your early story of how you got started in this field. I think it will resonate with folks.
Yeah, I think, Edna, I appreciate your enthusiasm for the family childcare, because it is absolutely one of the greatest places that we can be thinking about developing capacity. When I first opened up when I was 17, I had worked at Methuen High School in their CTI program in Rangerland in their early childhood. And then I opened up the first family childcare center. I was the youngest person ever licensed, and I think I still am, in the state of Massachusetts at 17 years old. So I did home family childcare for 3 years, and then I moved into center-based.
Thanks, Susan. And so I think so. Can you say a word? Because I think Kale, Wayne had been on with the Good Jobs Challenge. Can you just say a little bit about like structurally how that's all working? So because Kale has money that then they're subcontracting with you, is that right?
Yes, exactly. So Kale was funded by the Good Jobs Challenge. They received $8 million during COVID. And so they have partnered with affiliates like ourselves. They also partnered with Neighborhood Villages and a few others. And they are doing, they are working with us because we're in the field more than they are, to understand and access programs and design programs that are going to work for a working population. And so we are allowed to either use people that are already working in the field, or we can recruit new people that are in the field. But all of this is free. It is free to participants. There's no charge. And in fact, there are places where supportive funding is available. And someone asked about scholarships. We definitely consider scholarships as well.
And then Sonal, thank you for putting the links into chat. And then Susan, as you've been doing this work for all these years, I mean, because I think the free, right, this might seem too good to be true, but
Yeah.
I think you've always been really thoughtful about how do you kind of take what currently is and then make it really helpful and useful for the people who are doing the work every day. So can you talk about some lessons learned? Like what have you seen through so many of these different programs where you've supported the workforce?
Yeah, it's a great question, Amy. Of course, as you think about it, it does sound too good to be true. Okay, which is why so many people are just afraid. Let me just say it like that. They are in fear of accessing these funds because they are considered state funding, and they don't want to have to get involved in it. But really, the Department of Labor back in 1998 created a line item called workforce development. That line item goes explicitly and only to employers. It is not even eligible for moving around in the budget to balance the budget. As I share affectionately, we loved Governor Deval Patrick. He did great things, but in 2008, he tried to take those funds, it was a smart move, but illegal, and use them to balance the budget in the state of Massachusetts when the market fell out in the fall of 2008. Two companies sued his administration, and they won because those funds are declared for anybody that is paying into them. And so, what we tell people is that if you're not using them, your competitor is, for sure. And in fact, we just presented to Disney not too long ago, and that was part of our helping them understand that they could access these for at-risk populations that they're working with in system-impacted communities. And they wanted to know who else in their field was using them. Well, Universal was using them. And that really inspired them to say, wow, in every state that Universal is, they use these funds to develop capacity, and especially when they're looking at disenfranchised populations that they want to attract. They use these funds to create apprenticeship-like models to support them.
Sean wondered, important to note that the Good Jobs Challenge funding ends in August. What's the longer term plan for the programs that you've developed?
Yeah, Sean, great question, which is we are in the process of applying for registered apprenticeships so that once the CALE programs are done, we're going to roll all of this work that we've been doing into registered apprenticeships at every level in early childhood. And we're not just doing it in early childhood. We are doing it in manufacturing and in healthcare, as well as in well-being. And so, we're looking at creating an institute model that is going to work with system-impacted populations at multiple levels and support this work moving forward. We're really, our mantra is looking at creating systems that turn generational poverty to generational wealth. And that is important to us.
And then do you require programs to be not-for-profit? That's one of the barriers for family child care. They are almost always nonprofit tax status, but they're not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually they are there to support for-profits even more than nonprofits. And so no, they are not required to be nonprofits.
I think we've seen that more with funding streams, that have come down, just like different eligibility and different requirements.
Yeah.
And then for kids only has noticed a much better retention rate once we began a registered apprenticeship program.
That's great.
All right. I think that's it for the chat. Thank you so much for joining us to the G3 team and some of the OGs. It's been great to see you and some of the new faces as well. Join us tomorrow. I don't know if you saw, but we did get the breaking news that our call tomorrow will be live translation into Spanish and Portuguese. So please encourage folks to come. This recording and the slides will be available in our follow-up folder for the 9:30 call. We will see everyone tomorrow. Thanks so much, Susan and team.
Yeah, absolutely. Take good care.
Take
Thanks
care.
for letting us come.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Amy.